And I want to welcome you too, and welcome Sophie. And this is one of my very favorite topics of receiving, as the sort of root of everything. I mean, everything depends on this idea of receiving. And Sophie, I'm so glad that you're going to lead us in thinking about and experiencing receiving. And I was saying, I always say this group is such a wonderful group to explore with, and it is an instance of receiving and giving as the same thing. We're always receiving and giving in this group, and take everything that's offered and make something of it. So I just want to announce that February 14th comes on a Monday, Valentine's Day. I don't know. Some people love Valentine's Day and some people hate Valentine's Day. I am one of those people that really loves it to have a day, even though it's so commercialized, to celebrate love. And we're going to have a love fest for our helpers group on Valentine's Day, and invite everybody to bring a quote or a song or a poem or a thought about love on that day. So I'm looking forward to that. And love and receiving are very closely connected, I think. Sophie, I always so enjoy what you offer and what you share all the time in this group, and find it so inspiring and just warm and helpful. So I'm very happy you're going to be with us this morning, and be yourself. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. So, I'm Sophie, for the one who maybe do not know me yet. And I'm in Medford. I'm an expressive therapist in private practice in Medford. So I first actually want to start by thanking you all. Thank you for the organizers for making it happen. My Monday mornings have been radically different with this community of support as the start of the week. And you all have contributed to making the week start in a more gentle way, which is always an energy that nurture my soul, myself. So thank you very much for being here, making this happen. I receive so much from that. So the theme I chose is receiving. When Lynn asked me, it came right away, but I wasn't sure exactly what I would say. I mean, I knew I was percolating with this, and I wanted to jump in and say yes right away, but I also knew that some part of me, very protective parts, kind of get scared. And so I took my time. I think I took a few days, right, Lynn, or maybe a week. I can't remember. I took some time, and then it was still warm, and I was still excited about it. So I decided to take the risk. So here I am, um, receiving kind of landed in my life at this time because I went through a journey like you with COVID and with the political divergence and all that we are living through. And then we have to manage our life, right? And I struggled with some health scares and some financial stressors. And that threw me into a loop of vulnerability. the overall felt sense was fragile. I kept feeling
Mm.
fragile inside. And at the same time, as a therapist, like a lot of you know, we were so much in demand and there was so much needs. And so a part of me was just responding, and my practice was very full and I couldn't take anybody anymore. And I had to say a lot of, it was overwhelming. And so in the state of vulnerability, I was receiving like people wanting to give, and the universe wanting to be here for me. And at some point I realized I was not open to it. I was not letting myself even be aware for a while, and then it was really hard to let in. And it became very clear when a friend, a focusing friend, we have focusing conversation once a month together about whatever is in our life. And she said, well, I want to gift you with money and you don't have to give it back. And this could help you with your paying your health care. I couldn't figure out how to pay health insurance. And like, oh my God, I couldn't, I mean, and she didn't want me to give it back. And it was like, oh no, and so it, it was clear, oh my God, I am not open, even though you know, I need this and I needed medical care. And so I started to realize some steps that that I had already taken, and some more steps that I needed to take in order to receive and to allow this gift of life, like Lynn is saying, it's the center of life. We as soon as we are born, we receive, right? We receive the breath, we receive oxygen from trees, and we give back carbon dioxide to them. It's a big cycle of life. The rain falls on the plants, and the plants get nourished, and they feed us. And so me stopping, saying no to what was coming my way, I was not allowing the giver. I was stopping that cycle of life, that big cycle we are all in. And that friend of mine, when we talked about it, she said, you know what? Giving is overrated. It's really overrated. And receiving takes a lot of strength. It's humbling to receive. So I want now to us to go into an attunement, and after the attunement we'll have I have some slides of some sketches and painting I made during this time, this struggling time. Art has been my companion, my friend, to help me go deeper and also help me understand the world better. And we'll have some experiential and have our breakout room. And I'm really hoping that you're going to receive something that you need today. And sometimes we receive the gift we receive are a gift in disguise, right? They don't always feel like gift right away. It's challenging to receive. We don't always receive what we expect. Even receiving our partner is really a big thing. So, okay, let's breathe together and come into our own internal landscape for a little while. Okay, so let's take a few easy breaths, your kind of a breath that will let you land inside. Saying hello to your insides with this welcoming, curious, gentle, focusing attitude. And if you need to clear something, acknowledge it and put it aside for now, letting it know you can return to it if needed.
Let's see. And then meditating.
And as you are ready, invite yourself to get the whole of a big word. And the word is receiving. Letting that land in you. Getting a sense of that receiving in your body in this moment. And of course, letting yourself know that whatever you receive is okay. It all means well inside. So, in a moment, we will move to something else. Taking a moment to come to a close with what you receive for now. Letting it know you can come back to it when you choose to. We'll have time later for that if you choose to. And gently, gently bringing yourself back into this virtual space. Opening your eyes when you're ready. So, yeah, my plan is to show you some slide now. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is a piece that I made that really convey the way I feel when I'm open to receive. Do you see everything? Do everybody see?
Yes, beautiful.
Okay. And for some of us, I forgot to say, you may want to put your, on the top screen, there is some percentage where you have a best view, and 100% is usually best. And I know some of you may be on your phone, so that may be smaller, but so when I receive, I have this warmth inside that really warms me up. And then there is kind of this, there's a cycle, and then there is space for light to come through. And I don't have to be anything else that myself, right? I love this song from Leonard Cohen where he says, the light comes through the broken bell.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way the light comes through. So, as I was saying earlier, receiving is challenging, and we're not always in this open state. And one of the things that I did to help myself receive is I took a pause. A year and a half ago, I decided to make this radical change in many areas of my life, but it's also in my work life. And I dared to take a week off in the midst of all the needs, to take a week off per month of work. And to this day, I'm continuing to do this. And I called it the sacred pose.
Mm-hmm.
And by pausing, I was allowing myself to stop doing, and to have some being more, and to nurture myself. But also I became much more aware of all that's alive just around me. The birds, the squirrels. I'm sure some of you realized during the pandemic when at the beginning, when everything stopped, how much of other life than the human life was present. More birds, more wild animals were crossing streets, and because it was quieter. So the pausing, and we do that in focusing, right? We pause, we stop, and we take a moment to breathe and to get a felt sense of the whole. So this is what I did. And then I could feel more being and could allow myself to be more in the midst of it all. So this is called in the midst of it all being. And it's hard to stop doing. It's really difficult, and it took me at least a year to start to clear more of my schedule in that week pause per month. But in the state of being, I really started to create space, like a little bit in this image, space in my center to just be, even though there was a lot going on. One of my teachers who passed away a little over a week, Thich Han, used to talk about the art of stopping. And when we know how to stop, we can feel deeply and understand deeply as well. And we can be in touch with even joy in the midst of it all. So I did come into some moments of joy, and I made a lot of images like this one. I chose one of little animals that showed up and were really in. This one is called Pure Joy. That I shared with some people, and we could laugh. And that brought me a lot of joy. Joy exists even though in the midst of suffering. It is also there. It is also part of the world. This is called Unraveling. I realized that also when we make space to be, and this is why it's so hard to stop doing, there are things that unravel, that untangle, that shows up to be completed, that get cleared off our plate. And it was not easy, but some stuff got cleared for me around financial fear and some scared about medical issues, and to find strengths in the middle of all that and find some calm. And it created a path. I mean, the unraveling, as you can see in the image, created a path that I couldn't see without giving myself some pause and some being. And then I started to notice, oh my God, there's so much to receive. There's so much out there that are gifts in the world, that are miracles. And just the miracles of breath, of being alive, of trees, of friends, of this community. And even though at the beginning, and you can see in this image, there is a sense to me of kind of delicateness, but also fragility, but it's made of moss. And so it's made of earth element, and there's strength in that, of course. It's called receiving. And when I open to receive and to some of the conditions that help me to receive, I receive also joy. And this is called Cultivating Joy, which is part of my practice. Um, and some of those conditions are some of the, and I'm sure there are many different conditions for different people, but for me it was pausing, being, allowing things to unravel and to show up, and allowing myself to be vulnerable and receive, and to notice what was also here. So I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, this is my cat.
Mhm.
So this is a time I thought where if there is anything that you would want to share about anything that's you are receiving right now, anything that's with you, the circle is open.
Sophie, thank you for that. It was so beautiful. I could resonate with every single picture, and the feeling was that if I put myself in a receiving attitude, everything feels so tender. That was what came the most for me, and I loved every single picture, but the cultivating joy, wow. Wow, that was really lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you, Natty. Thank you. I want to take a pen because I want to write just few crux words for myself to read later.
It was just so beautiful. I was thinking about how we talk about active listening, but we could also talk about active receiving. And I was just drinking in. I think active receiving is that drinking in of those images and of you, Sophie, and your journey that you're so generously sharing with us.
Thank you, Lynn.
That first image is just amazing. I kept wanting to look more and more into it.
Yes, do you remember this movie? There was a movie about somebody going inside a painting. I can't remember the name of the movie. I don't know if anybody saw it, but I think it was, what's his name? Williams.
George Surratt, Sunday in the Park.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
Where the person was traveling in the painting and they plunge in, and in the movie you would
Yeah.
be in the painting.
mm,
I love that movie.
What comes up for me, looking at your pictures and starting with the pause, is also the word allowing. Allowing to receive all that.
yes.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yes. Allowing. It's a big one. Marvin.
It's a beautiful presentation. Thank you very much. It's particularly uh, appropriate and touching me today because I'm having difficulty accepting what another person wants to give, and she is having difficulty accepting what I want to give. So we are at a standoff. and we're stuck. Getting unstuck is quite a quandary.
Yes, Marvin, it's amazing how I realized this place that you're talking about. For me, when I couldn't receive what was coming, I realized, oh my God, I'm stopping the giver also from giving. I'm stopping this cycle of life, like Lynn was saying, it's at the center. We are receivers. And I'm stopping the giver from giving by not allowing.
It's true.
Yeah.
But we have to have attunement between, some degree at least, between the giver and the receiver. Otherwise, there's this stuckness.
Yes, you remind me of something I wanted to say, which is one of the things that happened was the sacred pose, is that I took refuge in safety, in finding safety. What was safe for me, refuge in my home, refuge in my little garden, refuge in myself. And that was the first step, to ground myself in enough safety.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. I'm wondering if this is a good time to, what time is it? Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe let's have some more. Is there some more? Yeah.
I think what you just said, the pause and then taking refuge in safety is it's so important to be able to allow oneself to receive, because receiving can be, one can be very vulnerable, and there can be the feeling, if I'm giving, I'm active, I'm in control, but if I'm receiving, I'm in a receptive mode. And so I think when you said safety, I thought, wow, yeah, that is really very important, to be able to receive.
Yes,
Yes.
I was struck by that also, Sophie, that taking refuge. And I was thinking about, I was trying to remember the Buddhist principle of taking refuge in the Sangha. Does anybody remember those three things?
The
Taking refuge in the
Dharma, the
Sangha, the Dharma, and the Buddha.
Yes.
Aha, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And that
It's humbling to receive. It's humbling. Yeah.
it's humbling and it's empowering, because it's like opening yourself to a larger reality. And Sophie, when you were saying about the trees and, the nature of life of the giving and receiving as the same thing, and then you were able to receive from your friend, it set you on a whole journey that was empowering as well as humbling, or maybe those go together. What's humbling
Yes.
is empowering.
Definitely, it's empowering because we open to love, right? We open to the loving energy. And you know what's funny is that I didn't even need to, once I said, I'm going to accept, another gift came, which was really amazing. And I didn't need to take that gift. Another gift of money came out of the blue that I didn't know. Actually, I had this account in France where I had some money. I didn't know. I forgot. So it's like when we start opening, it's like we start opening a channel. We are in this flow, right? And we all know when we are in the flow, it flows. The abundance in the universe, something bigger than us, start to move in.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
June,
like-
please pause. I mean, muted.
Did
Glad
you?
I muted. Okay. I just wanted to say thank you so much for your shared vulnerability and strength. But the other thing I wanted to say about asking for what we need, sometimes we're with people. I have a beloved who's very giving, but recently I needed what he doesn't ordinarily give. And even though he's very giving, I needed something else from him that he's not as good at giving. And so I asked for that, and it was great. And he was very willing once I asked. Didn't know. So sometimes, you know, we may be getting, but it may not be the right getting. And we have to allow ourselves to look even deeper, right?
Yes, that's all
Yeah.
right, June. And we have to allow ourselves to ask.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. That's huge. Mm. It's so hard sometimes to ask from the one we expect, right? That should be the one to know and to give us. And why don't they see that that's what I need?
Mm-hmm.
Sophie, I wanted to thank you for your paintings. They just like are so alive, and talk about giving. It's such a gift to me. And like Lynn said, I just like the first one, I just wanted it to stay forever. And there's so much language in your paintings. It's nonverbal, but it speaks so big for me, each one of them. And sometime I'd love to see them again. It's like it was going to the museum and stopping at a painting in a museum that you love, and you just want to like have it in you forever. So thank you so much for your gifts.
I want to invite you all, if there is a painting that you saw today and that you want to have, I'll be happy to send it to you. Send me an email and I'll be happy. And if you want to see more, you can look on the website. There is some painting there. Yes. I wonder, unless there is a burning sharing.
Shashi is looking to speak.
Okay.
You know, so Sophie, yes, I agree. Your paintings are amazing. What I wanted to share, that one time I was at the Golden Temple in India. You know, Golden Temple is a very famous temple of Sikhs. And you go there and they give you a little prasadam, a little sweet thing in the end. And I told the man to say, give me very little. So he said, no, you're here. You can ask as much as you should ask as much as you can. Like, spread your hands and ask for it. And, you know, that just touched me, that when you are at a golden temple, when the world is offered to you, you open up and you receive, and you don't say, give me little. You know, it stays with me whenever I'm going to some place where there's a grace. So I don't say, oh, just give me little. It just says, give me as much, and I'm here.
Oh my gosh, Sashi. Yes. Yeah.
And
Give me a
how
lot.
many times are we sort of saying to the universe in some kind of way, just give me a little, rather than, oh, I'm opening my hands to the universe and
Yes, exactly.
give me all there is, all I can hold. I can have all that I can hold.
I think we should all take a minute to go, yay!
Yes, let's do that, of course.
Oh,
In whatever way, you know, it can be also palm up, our hands on our heart.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, June. There is an orientation of the spirit, an orientation of the heart, and of the mental, and a positioning of the body to also open more to receiving. So, yeah. So I think this is the perfect moment to, I'm going to just lead you in a little mini experiential, and then Kristen will send us into the how's this called already?
The breakout rooms.
Breakout rooms.
The breakout room, not the waiting room.
The
The breakout room.
seating room.
And I can be in a breakout room if need be. And
Sophie, 3 or 4 people?
I think maybe 3. So because maybe I'm going to tell you a little bit. And I think with the email for today, Christine did put some guidelines, but basically the guideline is for 1 of you or 2 of you, and maybe there will be time for 3 of you, maybe, yeah, to ask for what you want to receive in your breakout room, and to say, and for your givers, to give it to you, and maybe before the givers, so you'll give it to you, maybe the givers will say it back to make sure that they got it, they got what you want to receive. And so as the receiver, do whatever you can to open as much as you want, as you choose to, as you can, to receive. And as we know, energy passes through Zoom. We could even shut down the Zoom and receive. And in the giver role, trust yourself. If something even come, you have a good first sense of that, offer that. We can always take in what we want and leave the rest, right? If it doesn't work for us. So basically, when you'll be in the breakout room, 2 roles, givers and receiver. 1 of you will choose to go first and receive, maybe for a couple minutes. It's a lot already, just even 2-3 minutes. And then you can switch role, and hopefully 2 or maybe 3 of you will have time to receive. Any questions about that before I kind of attune you to this even in another way? Okay, it's clear. Great. So let's take another moment to go back inside you. Maybe taking a breath and returning to your home inside, to your refuge inside. And you might remember a time, a place when you felt a sense of openness. A sense of maybe safety, trust. You could just be yourself. And sense that place or that time in your body right now. Maybe you notice where it is in your body, this openness. Maybe there is a sense of spaciousness in your heart space, or something else that's yours. And even if nothing comes, nothing is something. If you are already with what you want to receive, stay with that. If you are not sure, you may want to ask your body what your body wants to receive right now. If in a moment we are going to a breakout room, so taking a moment to just put a little pause to where you are, because if you choose to, you can return there. And as you are ready, just bringing yourself back here. And if Christine is here, she can place us in the breakout rooms. And if you need to leave again, this is the time to leave. Thank you for being there if you leave.
Sophie, would you like to be in a room?
Sure.
Okay.
We will see you all back at 9:30 for sharing.
So bon voyage in your breakout room.
Yes. A real practice of giving and receiving, and how that feels in our bodies.
So Lynn, later we can talk about February.
Hi, Melinda. How
So
was your
tell-
prop?
Well, we're watching her. There she, I don't know if you can see her, but she's resting.
Yes. Oh, what a sweet pup.
So anyways, I guess at some point we'll go over February.
Yeah, maybe today. We'll go over it.
Yeah, I know that we have Akiko the last day.
Right. We have everybody. We have Frida first, and then the Love Fest, and then hi.
Okay, good.
Welcome.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome. I hope you had a wonderful time, and I'm very interested to hear how it was and what you have to bring back to us. It's like you go out on a treasure hunt, right, and have an experience, and then bring it back to the whole group.
Sophie, this is Lynn. I just, I've been in many groups with you, and I really always find your presence, that you're always so grounded and present, and even with uncomfortable feelings, like the vulnerability component. And it allowed me to really identify or recognize the vulnerability receiving. And it's a scary place, but if you stay with it, or I stay with it, like with the pause, it allows for seeing all parts of it. And if you can stay with it, the vulnerability, there's something, when you come out the other side, I think that there's a lot of energy and growth that happens staying in that pause, or moving past the vulnerability. But I think it's good I think it was important to recognize the vulnerability and to be okay with the vulnerability, or at least make note of the vulnerability, even if you're not sure how to navigate through it. But I wanted to thank you for really being present in that way.
Thank you, Lynn. So true. Somebody in our group, Mary, I don't know if you want to say, because that just fits so much in about you said safety in the vulnerable, right, Mary? Is that okay to share? I forgot to ask you. Safety in the vulnerable.
That's well said.
Hi, Sophie, I just wanted to also say thank you for your gentleness that invited in our group. What really came forward was a quiet refuge, and that quiet, being able to have that quiet refuge within ourselves, so we can give and receive more from a more a place that creates more listening and spaciousness between people. So, thank you again for our being able to tap into that quiet refuge from what you gave to us.
Eleanor, yes, it's like so we can resource, right? We can resource and then access resources to let that cycle of life continue. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Quiet refuge.
we were in a room of 4, and I didn't know 2 other people. And we were also in this quiet refuge, really quite a luscious silence for a while, and just basked in that and took each other in. And then I got curious because I didn't know 2 people. And we shared some background, where we are from and so on. And it was very interesting. And then we fell into some more silence. And it was very interesting to see what you receive without words, the energy, and then what one receives when particular information is shared. That's also great, but then to go back to just taking it in silently. And that was very interesting for me. And
it's sometimes a real risk to be silent and to just receive the silence. That was quite a venture together.
Reminds me of this. There's a wonderful article that Mary Hendricks, Eugene Gentine's wife, wrote with him, I think, I'm not sure, Lynn, about the pause. It's on the website. And she talks about this amazing resource that we have as focuser to pause.
Mm-hmm.
Really pause in order to get a whole sense, to get this first sense, which is much more than a feeling, an experience, an idea. I recommend reading that article. It's you know it, Lynn?
I think it's called the revolutionary pause.
Yes, thank you. It's called the revolutionary pause. I think it is a revolutionary act to pause. You know, when I took my 1 week pause, when I'm still taking my 1 week pause a month, and it's a big deal, pausing for 1 week from work, especially in this time. My clients started to integrate that pause into their life. So not in the same way that I did, but I have a mom client who has 2 young kids, an infant and a toddlers, and she shared she was inspired and she shut down her phone. She closed her phone. She shut down her phone 2 hours a day to be completely in presence with her 2 kids. She decided to do that. And another male client in his 40s said, wow, I want to think about my retirement in a different way. I don't want to wait until I'm going to stop everything to retire. I'm going to start pausing and retire now. Little by little. So there was a reverberation, that was so nourishing for me. It's like, oh my God, my taking care of myself is helping others take care of them. That's revolutionary.
There's a book by Wayne Muller called Sabbath, and it's a beautiful book about pausing and receiving, and he talks about how in the Jewish faith, the Sabbath, resting and taking in and pausing 1 day out of 7 is on the same par with not stealing or killing or all of that it's a commandment to pause. And it seems like in nature, in the universe, that's there's always that time that's needed for new life, the winter time, the wintering.
I was thinking also that the wonder and the greatness of receiving, and also on the other side when it's not safe to receive. And I was thinking about this not only for myself, but also with clients, for example, when it's not safe to receive certain things, certain attitudes. So what came to me was the checking, because I have sometimes received things that I didn't want, as I think it was June saying before. And maybe also when we are offering something, to just check if that's what the other person is needing. That's came to me in a very strong way.
Yes, it's like a question of respect, right? Asking, is this okay? Yeah.
Like if I'm giving a hug, I would first ask, do you want a hug? And not just go and be overwhelming towards the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like getting in touch with, am I giving this out of because I just want to give this? Is the receiver ready or wanting that too? Yeah. Yeah.
Or on a gentler note, sometimes it's only what they know how to give, and they may need to learn that they can give something else and it will be received.
I'm wondering if it isn't the content of what's offered, but the intent, and the receiving is also not necessarily receiving the thing that the person is offering, but receiving the intent. So if someone goes to hug me, and let's say I'm afraid of getting COVID, so I don't want to be hugged, I can receive that intent, that desire to hug me, and I can also at the same time say, let's do the hug this way or something, so that it's safer. But maybe separating the content of the receiving from the deeper attitude and experience of receiving. And focusing is receiving. I mean, Jean says, it has to come. There's nothing that we can make, even our next words, by ourselves. We can't conjure them up. It has to come. And so everything is this receiving.
Sometimes, right, in focusing, there is this murky period, right, that can be really uncomfortable.
Yes.
Before, it's coming.
Yes.
Trevor has his hand.
Go ahead, Nancy. Sorry.
I just said Trevor has his hand up.
Okay, thank you. I love when people notice somebody else wanting to speak.
Thank you, Nancy, for acknowledging that. I just wanted to talk about giving and receiving. Tomorrow is the Asian New Year. So whoever has Asian friends, you can wish them Happy New Year. And it's the year of the water tiger.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Yes, and we're receiving that Asian New Year. I think we're just getting started here, and we have to end. And I'm wondering if Dorothy has a poem. And I just want to thank you again so much, Sophie, for this. So much about it. We could spend a year exploring this topic.
Thank you. I received so much from you today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hi. Yeah. Yeah, I did put my email in the chat in case any of you want to have a poem read or you want to read. Lynn and I have talked about that, so please feel free. I am continuing with John O'Donohue, and just to mention, if some people tried to look it up, it's easy to Google, but I misspelled it. So it's O apostrophe Donahue, and I left out the O last time. And just to mention too, he's a contemporary Irish poet and philosopher. And when I went on Wikipedia, he studied philosophy at the University of Tübingen, Germany, and I found that so interesting because that's where our dear friend Frida is from. But the poem is about blessings for courage. And before that, he writes, in my life, it's often been those little pauses, some minutes, some seconds, some fractions of a second, that have helped me keep a level head and a grateful heart. Without the pauses, I can easily fall into panic and overwhelm. I'm built that way. I love that. I'm built that way. Without the pauses, I drop into old habits and ways of doing, thinking, and responding. I can easily abandon flow and trust and being. The pauses allow grace in. And I'm going to write that again. Give it space. The pauses allow grace in. And now I can feel myself more. And within that preface, he writes this poem, Blessings for Courage in Uncertain Times. When the light around lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as a stone inside, when you find yourself bereft or any belief in yourself and all you unknowingly leaned on has fallen, when one voice commands your whole heart and is raven dark, steady yourself and see that it is your own thinking that darkens your world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light. Know that you are not alone and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually, it will school your eyes to find the one gift your life requires, hidden within the night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes. Gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark that is all you need to nourish the flame that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. A new confidence will come alive to urge you towards higher ground, where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty at its most rewarding threshold. And I encourage all of you to bless the space between us. This beautiful book that Olivia presented when she spoke. I encourage you, if you moves you to order this book. That's where many of these poems come from, and it's given me much nourishment.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. It's beautiful, beautiful. And Frida, speaking of Frida, will be speaking to us and doing a reflection on embodied aesthetics. And we will see you next week. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you so much,
Sophie,
Sophie.
thank you.
Stay warm.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Masumi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.